Hello everyone, I'm here today to show you how to make your mug. The things you are going to need before we actually start making are your template, a rib, your wooden skewer, if you have it, an X-Acto blade, a sponge, and a cup of water. I have also prepped my slab, so I have a slab here. After you have thrown out your slab and stretched it so it's nice and even, you want to make sure that it's big enough that your cup template will fit over the top. Before you start cutting your template, you want to use your rib and you want to compress or smooth out both sides. After you're done smoothing, you are going to lay your template onto your slab, making sure that your cup section, it goes across. And then you are either going to trace with a dull pencil or your wooden skewer. I'm just gonna use the back, not the pointy side. And I'm just gonna trace. So go down your lines, not poking through your paper. So you can see my small indent. The next thing I want to do is I am going to cut this out either with my skewer or my X-Acto blade. Now I'm gonna save this little piece of slab to act as the base of my cut, but I'm not gonna actually cut it out yet because my cut might be a little bigger than that because of how thick my slabs are. So for now, I'm just gonna sit that aside. I'm also going to sit aside my cup body, and I'm gonna take this extra clay and I'm gonna make my handle. So what I'm gonna do is just rip a piece of this back and then squish it back together. Now what I want to do with this piece of clay is I want to roll it out into a coil, but I want to make sure that that coil is a carrot shape. So I want to make a coil that is about the same length as the bottom of my cup, and I want it to be thin on one edge and a little thicker on the opposite. So I squeeze my clay back into place. If your clay gets really long, you don't need very long of a piece, about the height of your cup body. Okay, I'm going to use my sponge and just add a little bit of water to my coil and my hands. So I just swipe the water on the coil and then I rock it back and forth in my hands, making sure that it's hydrated. I won't want too much water on my cardboard box or my tabletop. Okay, so the way I'm gonna start is I'm gonna just smooth this out. So I roll my coil, and I wanna roll my coil so that it's about the thickness of my index finger, which is probably your pinky finger or even your ring finger. And then I'm gonna just roll one side to about the halfway spot, and then I'm gonna come back, leaving this end alone. Okay, and I'm gonna do that twice, so I have two handles, just in case one breaks or I mess one up. So stop about halfway, go back, and focus on just this end. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my thumb gently across and I'm gonna flatten this just a little bit so that my handle doesn't appear too thick. Flip it over, Do the same thing. So I'm just dragging down in one direction. Okay? Repeat. Now, these two skinny bits, I want to get rid of those, so I'm going to cut those down at an angle away from me. So down and out, down and out. I also want to do the same thing with the top part of these coils. So how long do I want to leave it? I want to leave it about the length of the bottom of my cup. So cutting away, this time towards my left. All right. And then I'm going to simply bend this backwards and let them sit. Now, if you know you're going to be sculpting or adding something to an end, maybe wrap or put this inside of your plastic bag so it doesn't dry too much. But I'm going to let those sit and stiffen while I work on my cup. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to want to bevel cut my ends. So on the left side, I'm going to cut away this top corner. So I'm going to just line up my skewer so it acts kind of like a straight edge. If you have a ruler, you can use a ruler too. But you want to cut away that top. And then you're going to flip your slab over and you're going to do the same thing to the other sides. Your next step is you're going to score these edges. So you want to score right on that corner you created and make lots of clay crumbs. Remember, we want it to look like Velcro. Flip, do it to the other side. Now I'm going to take my cup and I am going to flip it over to its widest part and wrap it around. So you can see where my score edges are going to line up. So I'm going to push this back so I have one side inside and then the other is going to lay on top. Now I want to make sure that I take a little bit of water and I just dab it on my score marks and then I'm going to blend this together. And I always make sure that I have my hand on the inside to support it. And I'm just going to use my rib to help me smooth and compress. I like it because I can bend it. Okay, flip it over, start work on your inside. Use your wood tool, and I'm just dragging that seam over. And I want to make that seam blend together or disappear. Flip it out. I'm going to do the same thing on the outside. Make sure I make this seam totally disappear. I'm not using a lot of water right now because I don't want to make my cup any more soft or flimsy. And I'm going to work on compressing it. Now you don't want to attach your bottom until you get this outside all smooth and clean because you want to be able to reach through both sides. Once I've smoothed everything out and I can no longer see my seam, I am now going to trace the bottom of my cup. So I'm going to grab that extra piece of slab that I had and I'm going to place my cup on top of it and I'm going to trace the outside and then slip and score those pieces together. Okay, your next step is I want you to take your two handles and I want you to put them in your Ziploc bag. They've been sitting out. They should be leather hard so you can still move them, but we don't want them to get any drier. So let's put them inside our bag and then set it aside. Next thing I want you to do is cut out your design. Once it's cut out, you're gonna notice it doesn't wrap all the way around your cup. That's okay. I want you to leave that gap on your seam. Paper's gonna wanna come off, so you're gonna wanna make sure that you press it down onto your cup so that it'll stay. You could also take a little bit of water and just stick the paper down on the water on the ends to hold it in place for you. What I want you to do next is I want you to use a dull pencil, and I want you to gently trace your design on your cup so it leaves an indent the same way we did when we first cut out the form.